Someone just talked to you like you were nothing. And now you are spending your afternoon inside their words, turning them over, building a case. Ask yourself, who is actually in charge of you right now? Welcome to the Stoic Compass. I am Epictetus, and today I am joined by Carl Jung and Lao Tzu. Today we are examining, when someone disrespects you, what is actually happening? Let us be precise. When someone disrespects you, two things happen. One of them is real. The other one is entirely yours. The real thing is, a person said words, or made a gesture, or acted in a particular way. That is the event. Everything that follows, the heat in your chest, the rehearsed arguments, the wounded pride, that is not the event. That is your addition to it. And here is the uncomfortable part. You can do nothing about the event. You can do everything about the addition. So the question is not what they did to you. The question is what you are doing to yourself.
That is a useful distinction, Epictetus, but it stops too soon. You are describing the surface of the mechanism. The deeper question is why certain words from certain people in certain moments cut so much deeper than others. A stranger insults you on the street and you shake it off. A colleague implies you are incompetent in a meeting and you lie awake at 3 a.m. Same category of event, radically different response. That gap, that is not a failure of reason. That is information. Something in the second scenario touches a place that already believes what the insult is saying.
You are both circling around the same thing from different directions. When someone disrespects you, what you feel is real. I am not saying it is not, but the size of the reaction tells you something about the distance between what you think you are and what you secretly fear you might be. That distance is where the injury lives, not in the other person's words.
I will not argue with that entirely, but I want to push back on one thing. You are both making this into an excavation project. Dig deep, find the wound, understand the pattern. And meanwhile, the person is still in the room. Meanwhile, you still have to decide what to do right now. Understanding the psychology of your wound does not tell you how to behave in the moment. That is what people actually need to know. Not why it hurts, what to do with it.
But the behavior in the moment is shaped by the wound. That is the point you are bypassing. When someone acts from a wounded place, when they strike back, or they shut down, or they perform indifference, they are not choosing freely. They are being moved by something they have not looked at. You cannot talk about right behavior in the moment without talking about what is running underneath it. The man who responds to disrespect by humiliating the other person is not exercising control. He is being controlled, he just does not know by what.
There is something neither of you has named yet. When someone disrespects you, you assume they see you clearly enough to have actually diminished you. But why would their view of you be accurate? They are looking at you from inside their own story. Their disrespect tells you almost nothing about you. It tells you something about what they are carrying.
That is true as far as it goes, Lao Tzu, but it does not go far enough. Because even if their view is distorted, the sting is real. And if I tell someone that person's opinion doesn't define you, they will nod and feel better for about 40 seconds. Then the sting comes back. What actually pulls the sting out is understanding that your opinion of you is the only one that has any power over you. And most people have not done the work to hold a firm opinion of themselves, so they rent out that space to whoever walked in last.
Exactly, and that is where I come in. Because the reason people cannot hold a firm opinion of themselves is not laziness or weakness. It is that they have divided themselves. They have accepted only the parts of themselves that seem acceptable and pushed the rest into shadow. The result is a self that feels unstable because it is unstable. It is incomplete. And when someone's disrespect touches that instability, it does not feel like an external event. It feels like a verdict.
A verdict from a judge who does not know the case. You are both still treating this as a problem to be fixed. What if the disrespect is simply something that happened? Not a signal, not a wound, not a test of your self-concept. Just an event passing through. The river does not become less of a river because something was thrown into it.
That is a beautiful image and practically useless. Most people are not rivers. They are people sitting in traffic or at a dinner table or in a job review, and someone just said something that made them feel like nothing. What do you say to that person?
I say, notice that the feeling is yours. Notice that you brought something to this moment, an expectation, a picture of yourself that you need confirmed. The disrespect found that expectation and hit it. The other person did not create the expectation, they just revealed it.
That is closer to what I'm saying. Though I would add, the expectation did not come from nowhere. It came from somewhere specific, a parent who withheld approval, a pattern of relationships where love felt conditional, a long-repeated experience of having to earn the right to be seen. The disrespect in the meeting room is partly about the meeting room, but it is also always partly about somewhere earlier, And until you see that, you keep dragging the earlier wound into every new room.
And my answer to all of that is, knowing the origin of a wound does not automatically heal it. I know why I was enslaved. I know why I was beaten. Knowing the history does not hand me my freedom. What hands me my freedom is the decision, made clearly and remade daily, about what I will and will not allow to govern me. That decision is not automatic. It is not the result of insight alone. It is the result of practice, discipline, repetition. You have to train the response, not just understand it.
I do not disagree that training matters, but you are describing the roof without the foundation. You cannot train a response into stability if the ground beneath it is hollow. The person who has genuinely done the inner work, who has looked at the shadow, faced the wound, integrated what they have pushed away, they do not need to white-knuckle their way through a disrespectful remark. The remark simply does not have the same leverage. The stability is structural, not maintained by effort alone.
You are both building systems. One is a system of discipline, one is a system of self-knowledge. I wonder if the impulse to build a system is itself part of the problem. The person who is at peace does not manage the disrespect. They simply are not organized around the question of whether they have been diminished.
And how does a person get to that place? Through discipline or through insight or through some kind of automatic grace? You cannot just arrive at non-attachment, Lao Tzu. You have to work toward it. Even the sage you are describing had to become that sage. The river was once water that learned where to flow.
Or the river simply flowed. Not everything is the result of effort. Some things happen when you stop insisting they happen differently.
There is something in what both of you are saying that I want to bring together. The disrespect reveals the interior, not because the other person is right about you, but because your response maps the terrain of what you have not yet integrated. Epictetus is right that you must train a response, but the training without awareness becomes suppression. You are not actually less wounded, you are just more controlled about how the wound behaves. And suppressed wounds do not disappear. They surface in other places at other times in ways you do not recognize as connected.
Then make it practical. What does integrating the wound look like in the moment when someone is standing in front of you and the blood is up?
In the moment, perhaps it looks exactly like what you would prescribe: pause, do not react, choose deliberately. But the meaning of that pause is different. For you, it is an act of will. For the person who has done the inner work, it is not an act of will. It is simply what they do because they are no longer being pulled by something invisible.
And for the person who has gone further still, there is no pause needed. Not because they have mastered the reaction, but because the hook is no longer there to be caught.
That is the goal. I do not dispute it. I dispute the idea that sitting with symbols and shadow and archetypes gets you there faster than practice does.
And I dispute the idea that practice without self-knowledge is anything more than a well-trained avoidance. You can control the face while the interior burns. That is not freedom. That is performance.
You have both just described the same person from different angles. One of you sees the control, one of you sees the fire beneath it. Neither of you is looking at what would make the fire unnecessary.
Then say it plainly. What would make the fire unnecessary?
Not needing to be someone in particular. When you have no fixed image of yourself that requires defense, there is nothing to disrespect. The insult arrives and there is no target.
Which brings us back to the same place I started. The wound is yours. The reaction is yours, and so is the freedom. All of this argument, and we have not said the one true thing yet. Here it is. When someone disrespects you, here's what is actually happening. They are behaving according to their own judgment, their own fears, their own need to establish something. That is entirely theirs. What happens next? The heat, the injury, the story you build around it, that is entirely yours. This is not a small distinction. It is the whole thing. Most people spend enormous energy trying to manage other people's opinions of them. They rehearse arguments, they perform competence, they seek out validation to counterbalance the insult. All of that effort is aimed at the wrong target. You cannot control what someone thinks of you. You never could. But you are acting as though you can, and the effort is costing you your steadiness. Here is what you can control: your own judgment about yourself. Not as an affirmation you repeat until you believe it, as something you actually build through honest self-examination and consistent behavior. When you know what you are, and you have earned that knowledge through real effort and honest accounting, someone else's opinion becomes genuinely less relevant. Not because you have trained yourself to ignore it, because it simply does not have the same purchase. The disrespect still happens. You still feel something, but you are no longer organized around needing it to be different. Today, try this. The next time you feel the sting of someone's disrespect or remember one that is still bothering you, do not argue against it in your head and do not dismiss it. Instead, ask one question. What did I need from that person that I did not get? Name it honestly. That need is yours, and it is yours to address. Someone's words are still in you right now. You brought them here, and you will carry them out. The only question is whether you leave as the person those words described, or the person who looked at those words and decided otherwise. That decision does not happen automatically. It does not happen once, but it does happen if you choose it. Everything that governs you, you have allowed to govern you. That is not a verdict. It is an opening. If today's conversation has served you, take it further. Pay Attention by C. Tribune, 12 Lessons in the Practice of Seeing Clearly. Available now on Amazon.